Okay, let me know when you've let everyone in.
I have, and the waiting room is disabled.
Okay, very happy for the 26 people that are joining us for this meeting. I want to welcome everyone to the July meeting of the CoC Council. And I'm in this space of loving quotes right now before we even go into our mission moment and our land acknowledgement. But a quote that I read yesterday was Maya Angelou, and it's, "I'm convinced of this: good done anywhere is good done everywhere. For a change, start by speaking to people rather than walking by them like they're stones that don't matter. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late to do some good." And I love that quote, and I hope that that offers some inspiration to this group as well. So if we could have Julia help with the land acknowledgement today.
Thanks, Allison. Do we have the screen that's got our written statement? Thank you, everyone. Hi, I'm Julia. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a grateful resident of Denina land here in Anchorage, and I'm going to read the statement that we've adopted as part of this advisory council. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement recognizing the Indigenous people of a place. It is a public gesture and appreciation for the past and present Indigenous stewardship of the lands that we now occupy. The Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness and the HPRS Advisory Council would like to acknowledge that we gather today on the traditional lands of the Denina Athabascan. For thousands of years, the Denina have been and continue to be the stewards of this land. It is with gratefulness and respect that we recognize the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Upper Cook Inlet Denina.
Thank you, Julia. And Jessica, do you have a mission moment for us?
I do. Thank you, everyone. I can definitely share my screen if I have that ability. I do. So I'm gonna take over your screen share here for just a second. I had the opportunity this morning to attend an event down at the Barrett. Let's see. Yes, that should be sharing my screen now. Down at the Barrett, which is currently slated to open sometime close to the end of next month, which will bring 86 units online. But the event was to recognize the award of the 2023 HUD Secretary's Award for Public Philanthropic Partnerships for the Homeless to Stably Housed project that was launched in partnership with many community partners, including the Rasmussen Foundation, ACEH, the Alaska Community Foundation, the Affordable Housing and Land Trust, Catholic Social Services, many other partners that brought online multiple numbers of housing units. I should know this number off the top of my head, but it was the largest number of housing units brought online in one project, one initiative in Anchorage's history. So this brought online the 3rd Avenue Resource and Navigation Center and the Complex Care Shelter with CSS. The units of housing at the guest house, the units of housing at the Barrett Inn and the Lake House, all 3 of those operated by MASH and owned by the Land Trust. And then coming next year, the Providence House, which is 52 units of permanent supportive housing with Providence. So I'm sharing the flyer that they handed out during that event, but it really just shows how when we all come together and bring all of these resources, public, private, and us, all of us service providers, together to be able to help people through that path and really ensure that people are reaching that stable housing as quickly as possible. So I was really excited to attend that, and I feel that sometimes, especially in moments of crisis, we really need to take time to stop, take a breath, and celebrate how far we have come.
Thanks, Jessica. So I'll provide a update on the committees that have met, probably our most active right now. Grateful for Julia and the leadership under the coordinated entry. I think she was voluntold multiple times and she still agreed to stay in it. But that being said, working really hard to identify a prioritization tool that we believe will be fair and be something that will help those that are most vulnerable, make sure that are housed in our community. Also, the other updates that we had really were in reference to the NOFO and the funding that is coming out, our CoC funding that's coming out from HUD. And I know that the coalition is going to be posting all of those updates onto the coalition website. So we will make sure that you have all those dates. I was saying I was trying to write them down as Jessica was passing them off and I just lost it. But that being said, some of our first work begins next week on Wednesday, the 2nd. And by the end of August, it is going to be to a part where we're putting to vote some of these big decisions. So that is the updates for those two groups. And Jessica, do you have any updates that you want to provide from the coalition?
Yes, thank you. I did want to share some quick updates. I like to share with the group anything that is a governmental update or policy update that is affecting the work that we do here in Anchorage. Actually, I'm going to skip the order. I'm going to give operational updates first. So operational updates, just wanted to share that our coordinated entry specialist, Trish Franco, is leaving us for a position with the state. So her last day is today. However, we have been advertising and interviewing for that position and hope to have somebody hired within the next week or two and hopefully have a very short gap in that position. But in the meantime, the work that Trish was doing around case conferencing and her supportive outreach will be picked up by other staff. So we should have continuity in all of those meetings and all of those supportive services that we provide out to our providers partners. Government updates. So there's been quite a bit of approvals and moving parts here in Anchorage. The clean slate resolution for the criteria for a new low barrier shelter in Anchorage was approved by the Assembly. So keep an eye out for the next round of town halls. So the first round of town halls focused on the criteria for the shelter, and the next round of town halls will have a focus on the site selection and operations. So keep an eye out. Our publications will have those meetings as they're scheduled, but they're also on the Assembly website as well, since they're publicly noticed. The resolution for an approved campsite pilot was also approved. So that is now over to the administration, and they will be working on site selection, a permitting process, and identifying funding for a pilot project for that approved campsite resolution. Work at the Housing and Homelessness Committee meeting continues regarding emergency cold weather shelter. There was some great discussion last week, and the intent is that the health department will be putting out an RFI to gather any interest from providers for being able to provide non-congregate shelter to meet the emergency cold weather shelter need for single adults this upcoming winter, and the support that is for the family emergency cold weather shelter will continue in the way it was last year. That is already set and already approved. And last, just this week on Tuesday, the master lease and the operational funding contract for startup funding at the Golden Lion to be able to provide units of affordable housing at the Golden Lion operated by Henning Inc. was approved. So they are working to start leasing people up and accepting applications to that facility. And I'm sure we will hear more information in the coming days on the specific criteria, but I know the focus is on individuals who are low income that meet the HUD definition of homelessness, which does include at risk of homelessness, and then experiencing a mobility challenge or requiring some assistance with their activities of daily living support. So not assisted living, but looking to provide housing to that higher level there. So that was it for local government updates. Nothing really moving at the state level right now with legislators not being in session. And at the federal level, those conversations are continuing to work with our federal delegation and also HUD on how we can improve the ability to have funding come into our community to provide these services. Last, Allison mentioned it as well, but the NOFO process and timeline update. We will be sending out invites to a launch meeting next Wednesday. So I'll put this in the chat as well, but watch for an email invite from ACH Communications. If you don't get that or you want to ensure that you are on our mailing list, you can send an email to the communications team as well, and we can make sure you get added to that. But that will be next Wednesday. And then the timeline for that process will be broken down, but the ultimate end date is that the entire community application is due to HUD at the end of September 28th. So there'll be multiple opportunities in the middle there for the community applications, the collaborative application, TNTA sessions for both of those applications, as well as entry into the HUD systems. Whew. On that note, I know you have a very full agenda, so if anyone has any questions, I'm available right now, or anytime you can send me an email as well.
Okay, I think you're off the hot seat there. They're going to give you a pass on this one, Jessica, because a very exciting time. It is election time at HPRS. And so I am going to ask, is it Emily who's going to help me with explaining what this process is going to look like?
That would be me.
There you go.
Just gonna check something. Okay. So I'm Emily. I work in the background, she, her pronouns, and I'm myself and my partner, Mitch, he, him pronouns, is the other support person. So if you see us on the screen, that's what we're doing. We basically help facilitate the meetings and anything that the council needs between meetings. We assist with that as well in coordination with ACEH. As part of that, we are coordinating the elections for the HPRS Advisory Council this year. We have compiled 11 candidates, of which I believe we have 6 in-house or in meeting and then 2 introductory statements. So what I'm planning to do is after this introduction is over, I'm going to read 2 introductory statements from 2 candidates who were not able to attend today. And then I will be handing the mic over to our first speaker, which would be our first in-meeting candidate, who is Cesar Ramirez. And I will go through and then announce the next person after they are done speaking. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to share an introductory statement, up to 2 minutes to share an introductory statement, which can be really anything. However you feel you want to explain your interest in this council. Again, we had asked for this during the initial invitation email, so hopefully everyone saw that request and is good to go. I'm going to have the following matrix on the screen during this entire time. And my partner will be posting in the chat box the full summaries of all candidates. So if you need to view that or don't have access to the meeting packet, you'll be able to access it through the chat box. Once everyone has completed their introductory statement, we will close that down. Then we will be posting the link to the voting poll in the chat box. That will remain open until 6 p.m. today. Afterward, myself and the acting chair, Allison, and my partner, Mitch, will collate the results. We will then make sure that the individuals who have been selected will be notified and their paperwork will commence. The final the formal announcement, excuse me, for the new members will be in August. And between now and then, our goal is to make sure that we orientate said individuals so that they're prepared to join us for that August meeting and be introduced by the chair. If I've missed anything, let me know, but the goal today is to hear from each of these individuals, hear why they want to be here, what's, you know, a little background, little history, and hopefully that will enable each and every one of you who is voting to make a decision. Those that are not able to be here, I would just say, use your best judgment. You have the summaries, you can make your considerations based on whatever. We are including everybody on who has expressed their interest to continue. They will be available for selection as a candidate. We are now at the stage where I would like to do an introduction for our first two candidates, but I want to open the floor quickly to anyone who has questions or needs clarification on this process. Everyone good? Okay. All right. Feel free to raise your hands or just shout out at me if there's something that isn't making sense, but I'm going to go ahead and do two introductory statements for two individuals who submitted their application. Our first introductory statement is from Clark Halverson, and it reads, I have spent the last 30 years working together with others to overcome the many social, health, and environmental challenges that negatively impact our communities. In this work, I have also found a deep commitment to identify, eliminate, and prevent structural and relational racism, as well as other forms of inequity that often pervades organizational systems, intentionally and unintentionally. This work has provided me countless opportunities for growth and built a deep passion to see our governmental and non-governmental systems become a space of innovation, improved service delivery, and to be part of the change that supports opportunities to better serve the demands of our growing and diverse communities. The HPRS Advisory Council is a platform that offers an opportunity for me, together with others, to make a meaningful impact on the lives of those experiencing homelessness. My interest in the council stems from a deep commitment to social justice, a desire to address health disparities, and a belief in the power of collective action to effect positive change. By engaging in this advisory capacity, I can actively contribute their expertise, resources, and compassion to advocate for better policies, support innovative programs, and work towards creating an Anchorage where everyone has access to stable housing and the opportunity for improved health and well-being. So that is Mr. Halverson's statement. I'm going to proceed on to Miss Bethany Newbarth. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, I apologize if I'm not. It reads, my name is Bethany Newbarth. I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, PMHNP, that currently practices here in Anchorage. Prior to this position, I worked as an ER nurse at ANMC for about 5 years. And then prior to that, I lived in Bethel, Alaska, and worked as an ER nurse. Throughout my career, I have interacted and worked with homeless populations, and have realized that there are many factors that lead to homelessness. Often untreated mental and physical health conditions can lead to a person being unable to maintain housing. I don't have any answers, but as I currently work providing psychiatric care for unhoused individuals, I would like to be part of HPRS and work towards finding solutions. And that is Bethany's statement. As I conclude those, the next person that is going to be speaking, if they are ready to go, is Cesar Ramirez. And Cesar, I did note that you sent an introductory statement by email. You can read that yourself or give a different statement, whatever you would like. I'm going to just hand the floor over. Feel free to turn on your camera if you're comfortable doing so. If you're not comfortable, that is completely okay. And I'm going to mute myself and turn off my video, and I will come back on when you're done, Cesar, and announce our next candidate.
Okay, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Hello, my name is Cesar Ramirez. I do currently work for ICA, and I'm going to read my statement. So within the statement, I will touch on the background, my background in regards to homelessness, my experiences, and why I'm passionate about contributing to the HPRS Council. In terms of my background, I have lived experience and I have worked in homelessness for 9 years. Throughout my time in the field, I have learned and continue to learn from leaders in the community that I have lived in, and I also, most importantly, have learned from the population that we have served. My experience ranges from, but not limited to, from being a client to working for ICA and providing support to HMIS users, participating agencies who are HMIS users, and also being the director of 99+1 from December 2021 to closure of 2022. I have worked together with community partners and law enforcement to address issues surrounding homelessness while maintaining the integrity of those that we serve. Why am I passionate about contributing to HPRS Advisory Council? Because I feel that we as a body are here to help by bringing our own experiences and skills that could potentially make a significant impact on the way homelessness is addressed in Anchorage. Most importantly, I am passionate because it provides me with the opportunity that the voices and needs of those we serve are being heard and not forgotten. And that's my statement.
Thank you, Cesar. That was great. As we proceed, just a quick note that if you do have questions or comments, I believe the best way to address that is to do that toward at the end after everyone's spoken, but just wanted to put that out there. Or you can enter a question or comment in the chat box if you need further clarification from any of the candidates. Our next speaker will be Dave Cooper, or I apologize. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your last name.
Hi, I'm Dave Kuiper. I serve as an associate director for Christian Health Associates, a faith-based community organization compelled by the love of Jesus to be a benefit for the well-being of individuals and communities in which we serve. I came to work with Christian Health Associates in 2011 after serving more than a decade as a pastor for Crosspoint Community Church. It was while serving Crosspoint that I became keenly aware of and concerned for persons experiencing homelessness, and particularly for unsheltered families with children. Family shelters were then, and often are today, at capacity with few options for safe shelter available for families. That concern led to engagement with the municipality of Anchorage and changes to our municipal codes that made it possible for churches to provide emergency cold weather shelter with church volunteers in church facilities for families with children and pregnant moms. There were some 10 churches providing emergency cold weather shelter on a rotating basis 7 nights a week when COVID-19 health concerns shut those efforts down. Families were then sheltered in hotels, and now, post-COVID, church volunteer-based family emergency cold weather shelter has been reactivated with additional support of municipal funding that allows our efforts to rent a single site for families in which to be sheltered and providing housing navigation services during the months of October through April. I was privileged to be part of the founding board of the coalition. That makes me an old guy. And if I can be helpful, I would be honored to serve again as a member of the HPRS Advisory Council. I would describe myself as more of a big picture guy and less of an administrative detail-oriented person. I believe bringing people with diverse backgrounds to the table around a shared concern provides the best environment for great solutions. I am a convener and consensus builder. I am convinced that if we can prevent children from experiencing the trauma of homelessness, well, we'll be doing what Jesus would do, and we would bend the curve downward on the number of adults experiencing the trauma of homelessness as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate you being here. Our next speaker will be Grace Gallagher.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Mhm.
My name is Grace Gallagher and my pronouns are she, her. I have 5 years of experience in the homelessness data realm and a decade of involvement in Alaska nonprofits. My background includes experiences in various areas related to the leading causes and challenges of homelessness in Alaska. I'm a skilled facilitator who has engaged groups in dialogue around the state for the sole purpose of strengthening communities. And I believe I bring a well-rounded perspective and skill set to the table. My experience in homeless service and HMIS database management is both from a client-centered service provision perspective and an administrator perspective. I've worked in prisoner reentry. I served 5 years on the Alaska Homeless Management Information System Advisory Board and worked 2 years executing the CoC's joint statewide Alaska Homeless Management Information System Strategic Plan. That's a mouthful. An achievement of note while I was working on the strategic plan was facilitating a system-wide assessment of our statewide HMIS software. I recruited a software review committee that was composed of local experts. Some of you were on that. And we designed surveys, we hosted interviews, engaged stakeholders in dialogue, and gathered valuable insights from over 600 end users, administrators, and funders. We spearheaded a critical examination of Alaska's specific needs for our HMIS database and solicited RFIs from leading national software vendors. So I'm very familiar with that. My commitment to service is at the core of everything I do. And in an industry filled with challenges, from limited resources to navigating intersecting client needs, I refuse to succumb to tired thinking. Instead, I approach barriers with tenacity and like to inspire those around me to think creatively and to challenge conventional wisdom when necessary. My intimate familiarity with HMIS and my connections to service providers statewide has helped me to bridge the gap between governance boards, database administrators, and various communities, which I think is critical to the statewide effort to combat homelessness. I hope to continue this work by joining the HPRS Advisory Council, and I'm particularly interested with the compliance and data committees. I'm a lifelong Alaskan, and I've lived 17 years in Anchorage with roots in the Matsu Borough, and I'm deeply connected to our community. I'm eager for the possible opportunity to serve our state and contribute to the ongoing efforts to combat homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was wonderful. Our next speaker will be Julie Green-Graham.
Yes, are you there?
We can hear you.
All right, is my video on?
Yep, we can see you.
Oh, okay. I'm Julie, and I'm a retired teacher from the Anchorage School District. I was teaching for 34 years in grades, kindergarten up through 8th grade. I've also been a librarian. And in my time as a teacher, I worked at one school and saw the devastating impact of homelessness on children and their families. So that kind of got me started in thinking about how to help in those situations. And then since I've retired, I'm a member of Central Lutheran Church. I'm on the local organizing committee there, or ministry. And we have a focus on homelessness in that group. And as part of that, I ended up being a part of the emergency cold weather shelter task force. And then I was just kept on going to the meetings and ended up being on a communication committee where I got to interview people with lived experience. And that was just a very heartfelt, meaningful, touching experience, meeting with people, listening to their stories. And it just made me want to be more part of the solution and look outside the box on ways we can help our neighbors. So since then, I've also been involved with AFACT and our church committee on looking at ways that we can take the idea instead of not in our neighborhood to us in our neighborhood, we're going to support people so that homelessness is just very brief in one time. And I guess the things that I would add to the HPRS Advisory Committee is just a new perspective of compassion, listening, and just wanting to be a part of a solution. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Julie. We're going to proceed with our next speaker, and I believe that is Will Walker.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Will Walker, and I'm with Alaska Court System. I'm the staff attorney and grant facilitator for our new eviction diversion program, which I've been working on for the past year. And basically through the program, I've been working to improve the eviction process for everyone coming to court, trying to provide legal information to landlords and tenants, as well as providing a space to the parties as an alternative to the formal court process, to use mediation as an alternative to see if they can find agreements outside of a result of an eviction. And through this work, I've been able to speak to landlords and tenants. I've attended or listened to probably 75 to 80% of the eviction hearings over the last year here in Anchorage, and have been able to, again, speak to landlords and tenants about these situations and kind of see the variety of reasons and causes that people get into a housing dispute, and which often might result in homelessness down the line. And so I have a big focus on the prevention side of the homelessness prevention and response system, and have been working with a variety of community members and service providers across both Anchorage and the state, especially over the last year, on working on these issues and trying to improve and coordinate a response to housing and homelessness issues. One of the tools I've learned through doing mediation training and kind of how I view both this program as well as the system is this term omnipartial, and kind of being able to see and be biased for all sides. And what I mean by that is kind of engaging with stakeholders, listening to all perspectives, and being able to kind of try to help find a solution that can work for everyone to kind of get positive sum versus zero sum outcomes. Again, I think prevention is very key. Kind of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I think that kind of working on coordinating a response as a community to housing and homelessness is vital. And I'm hoping to bring the data that I'm seeing through working at the court and seeing folks come through eviction court and help bring that back to the community and see how we can engage and improve our processes and systems to best serve people. And so I think I can bring that legal background, a mediation background, and nonprofit experience, and all these factors to both see kind of a big picture, but then also see kind of in the weeds all the minutia of the system and the interlocking systems, whether it's the legal system, housing, healthcare, criminal justice, that all kind of interrelate and respond together, and trying to bring these together through a platform with the advisory council to best address and work together to address homelessness and housing. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. We have one more individual, and I am going to allow you to introduce yourself. Your name is, I will probably butcher it, so please, is Rena Zarina, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but the floor is all yours.
Actually, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I am Zarina Lealai. My pronouns are she, her, but I am formally known as Rena. You will only address me as Rena. I'm excited to be here. I'm not really good at talking about myself, but I'll give it a try. What has motivated me to join HSPR comes from my lived experience of being at-risk youth in the past who has dealt with homelessness myself, and which brought upon many opportunities to grow in an environment dealing with complex situations and a variety of people dealing with similar unfortunate circumstances that I was also going through at the time. I've been a proud and active advocate in the Anchorage Youth Task Force that was established in 2017, which we participated and played a driving force into creating programs for the HDP project under the HUD grant that was only given out to specific communities in the nation. The programs our action board has cultivated are the Permanency Navigation Program, Rapid Rehousing, Host Homes, and the Permanent Supportive Housing Program. The Permanency Navigator Program was specifically brought up by my idea to meet youth where they are at because of my lived experience in dealing with transportation barriers youth face at that time. These programs are still currently being modeled and actively supporting the vulnerable youth in our Anchorage community today. I continue in carrying my passion for individuals experience homelessness in the Anchorage community by participating in panels and discussion at events such as joining with the youth collaboratory team and creating a spark session about youth resilience in the National Runaway and Homeless Youth Grantee Training in 2022, and was chosen to remain on the Right Tag Clearing website to challenge opportunities for growth within other organizations or communities. I've also worked with Covenant House in the past by being a youth speaker at Executive Sleepouts to facilitate youth group discussions at Volunteers of America. All of these, which include, but are not limited to my expertise with youth engagement. What truly highlights me as a great candidate who is inspired to work in this group in this council is my hours of training with the Glasgow Behavioral Health and receiving my certification of completion as a peer support professional and many years of youth engagement. I have been advocating and more importantly, learning and engaging with various people experiencing homelessness for many years. My continuous effort to remain truly devoted to uplift voices from the vulnerable demographic of our society and encourage positive investments in them has made me knowledgeable yet teachable in developing skills, allowing and evolving authentic voice, healthy work ethics, and positive and safe engagement. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are through all of our individuals who have been able to join us today and the two introductory statements. Thank you all so much. I want to draw your attention to the meeting chat. There is a question posed by one of our counselors that you can feel free to answer within the chat. Otherwise, you can speak loud, unmute yourself and share. I also want to just open the floor for any questions that anyone has or clarification. I don't want to get too much into the weeds. Everything that these individuals have applied, all the information that they have submitted for the application is in the summary. So please feel free to ask some clarification questions as needed. But we just want to be respectful of everybody's time. And so we'll open the floor for a couple minutes on that. Once that is done, the link will be posted in the chat for voting, again, open till 6 p.m. And then we will proceed through the agenda with questions and comments from the chat box. So we have the summaries being posted again right now in the chat box, and I'm going to mute myself. And Allison, if you want to manage the conversation from there. Thank you.
And there was also an earlier chat asking who's able to vote. So everyone that's participating in this meeting, we went away from membership only to really trying to be a little more inclusive. And so welcome each of you that are participating on this. You will be getting, I'm assuming that it will be from you, Emily, a link to the vote, or is that going to be in the chat?
I'll go ahead and put it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
And for those, sometimes you might not be able to read what's in the chat. I just want to, I think Julia has a great question. I want to make sure that it's just read into it. Seeing that there's some that are leaving, which some of the members had to already step off. My question for all candidates that can be answered at the end. Research indicates that at least 1 in 5 transgender people experience homelessness in their lifetime. This number increases when people holding intersecting identities, such as being a person of color, being a youth. In addition, data indicates trans people experience numerous barriers within systems. Please speak to your comfort in advocating for the needs of this predominantly invisible population. So we'll open the floor back up if anybody would like to speak to this.
Hello, Cesar here. Full disclosure here, I am part of the LGBTQ+ community, so I am 100% comfortable advocating for the population. Thank you.
Allison, we did have some individuals who responded within the chat, just so you're aware.
Okay, got it.
Quite a few.
I just wanted to make sure that people that might not be able to read that question, so.
Sure.
Oh, okay, I'll chime in. I put in the chat that I'm very comfortable advocating for trans people of all ages.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, well, we have the last few minutes of this where we want to open it up for any member or public comment. You can see the fancy little 3-minute count. So feel free if anybody, if you want to raise your hand or let us know if you would like to make some public comments to this group.
Yeah, this is Roger. I just want to thank all the candidates for applying. We've got a really great group of folks and some tough choices to make, but thank you, and together we'll continue this journey.
I agree, Roger. I think this is the most robust, diverse group of candidates. I really appreciate that. Okay, so do we have any, seeing and hearing none wanting to public speak? Do we have any good news or celebrations we would like to bring forward to the group? Other than it's a really pretty day and it's one of the 7 that we've had this summer. So
I can just speak very briefly to piggyback on what Roger said. The group of candidates have all been very responsive and very eager to be a part of this, and that just is very indicative of a solid group of people to select from. So it's kind of a win-win situation from my perspective. Just wanted to share that.
You know, since we're capturing everything for the recording, I did thank everybody over in the chat, but I want to say that when you're asked to participate in a council like this, you're often asked about things in your history that are not things that you bring up in all spaces, whether you're a person with lived experience or you're talking about your personally held belief systems. I'm just really amazed by all of the ways that you showed up so authentically for those that are on this call and those who had to step off, speaking deeply from the heart about who you are and why you care about this work. Just thank you.
yeah. So these are our next opportunities Again, I'll just read just for the sake of if someone isn't able to see the screen. August the 8th, a regular assembly meeting at LUSAC. August the 16th, the Assembly Committee on Housing and Homelessness. That is at City Hall, room 155, and it's from 11 to 12:30. You can also participate in that by a conference call. So let people know that as well. August the 21st is very exciting. We're putting on a housing summit, and it's at the BP Energy Center. There is an active link on the slides for you if you would like some more information about the Housing Summit. I also know there's some extensive information on the coalition's website that you can also register from there. And on the 24th of August will be the next Advisory Council monthly meeting, at which we will introduce the new board members to the general group, as well as, you know, us, right? And then on August 27th, we have a regular assembly meeting. August 31st, Complex Behavioral Health Community Task Force meeting. And that's from 1 to 3, and that is at City Hall. So those are the next, and I'm sure there are many other opportunities for advocacy. If anybody wants to put them in the chat, we'll make sure that we keep this as updated, and then this information goes onto the coalition website. Okay. Yes, thank you for all you do. Stay safe. Happy summer, happy voting. Vote real quick and then get outside and walk and breathe and take care of yourself. And we will see you at the next opportunity.
Thanks.
Thanks.